Alright, I'm sorry. It's not gonna be a normal video. With all that shit going on with US, Israel, Gaza, Venezuela, all those countries, China, everything going on politically. Like, it's not my place to say anything. I'm 16 years old, but whatever. I just want to say to start off, I could be crazy. I'm not saying that I'm crazy. I'm saying what I'm about to say could sound crazy. It's just my opinions, and I think this is my what will be going on. But yeah, to start off, I don't want to say anything that could put myself in harm. One, I'm not suicidal. Two, I have been diagnosed with anxiety and depression, but that is not affecting me right now. I have therapy and everything else. I love my family. I love my friends. I would never do anything to do something to myself. But with the Israel, US, and Gaza shit, like, I really think Israel controls America, obviously. Not controls America, but I'm tired of putting my words out there to put it into here. Because I have my notes for everything, right? I'm not going to show it just in case. Because I know the Alexa behind me could probably hear what I'm saying too. Because everybody in America is worried about China spying on us, TikTok, other countries spying on us. If you really look it up, the US and Israel really just signed a law that allows AI to track if you say anything bad about Israel, anything negative about Israel, and it's really to spy on us. Like, it's labeled as protecting kids, and that's the same thing of a couple years ago when they added the image blur when they send like nudity, whatever. Like, it's the same thing. They don't care about your safety. It's really just that, and label it as anti-Semitism. But we know. Hold on, let me write something. We know already that we fund Israel for healthcare, for their troops, for the elderly, for whatever they need. They can't do that shit here. I'm walking down the street and I see all these homeless people. We haven't dealt with struggles with dealing with healthcare and stuff, and they get free healthcare, they get free education, they get whatever they want. Hey, I don't know. You could just be helping them, but you can't even do that here. The money they spent, something billion, trillion, they could have solved hella problems over here. And we if they solved all those problems over here, everybody would love Trump. But they didn't. People think the presidents are the top of the power. They're really not. All these companies, all these families, I'm not gonna name them, but they really own everything in this world. Some things I would like to, in my opinion, that people that have been killed to separate us, like, it's just an opinion because it happened so recently. The Ukrainian girl, she's a refugee. She came over, and they're coming from the war. And that black man, Charlie Kirk, hey, bless up to his name. Nobody deserves to die. I didn't agree with what he said, what he would say, but I think he was killed to separate us. And now people can say, look at what you guys are doing. Like, if you're Democratic, Republican, whatever side you're leaning on, and you have a friend or know somebody from the other side, look how easy it is to separate each other. You know what I mean? It's so easy to be separated, especially in the US. I think that man, Charlie Kirk, said it himself that he was let loose 14 different occasions. You know how crazy that is? Bro, he was let loose after crimes he did. I looked it up, what crimes he did, and the different occasions that he personally went to jail for or whatever, but I couldn't find anything. But I'm just basing it off his words. I think he killed her, and he was now that whole thing was set up, Another person, Charlie Kirk. No, I'm just gonna say it. I think. Oh, wait, I just said that. Charlie Kirk probably was killed to be separate us, and George Floyd probably was set up too. I wrote down JFK too. If you look it up right now, JFK before he shot and killed, obviously he's Democratic, and he denied access to Israel for nuclear weapons. And guess what? He was killed. It's the same thing for Nikola Tesla, and the man you guys ever heard the story of the man who created gas from water, and guess what? They both died from those two. They didn't die from what they made, but they died because if they kept going with it, they would have succeeded, and the companies that already run the world would have been falling behind. That they want to keep us in this circle, Everybody knows that the U.S. killed them. Same thing with the healthcare CEO. I literally just saw a video about some girl getting messed with because she spoke up about the healthcare CEO. He doesn't care about our health or caring for us. How ironic that is. And some of the stuff by the CIA, you can believe it or not, but if you heard about the gangs back, the gangs originally were meant to protect Hispanic, Latino, whatever, or Hispanic, Black communities, and eventually they started getting into drugs and guns. Yeah, it's kind of easy to see that CIA put those guns and drugs, whatever, into the communities and forced that separation. And it's just like something else about Israel, like they're Judaistic. They support Judaism, or the Judaistic, and in their religion they talk about how they're the supreme race. No, not supreme race. That's like they're the only race by God, and they talk about being persecuted, and how when that happened, that was in Nazi Germany, right? And then now in Judaism it talks about the world hating them. And I saw a TikTok, like, obviously support only getting from your information from the media back then was like, oh, like, what are you doing? Like, that's not real. Like, but from TikTok it's kind of like I can understand if you actually like look it up and you can see it, like, damn, this is actually happening. But in Judaism it talks about the world hating them, and what they're doing publicly, which we can see for ourselves, is they're terrorizing Gaza, and they say that it was their land and they need it back. The only reason they want it back is because of a temple inside of it, and they want to get that temple, and according to what they believe in is it'll bring back Jesus, or not Jesus, it's whatever they believe in, and they'll all be saved. So they're purposely doing this to the media, to the world, so we can all see it and hate them. It's so easy to hate them when you see it like that. The same thing with Nazi Germany. When you learn about it in history, it's so easy to hate Germans and white people, But I'm not gonna be like, oh, Hitler was right. You're like, no, he wasn't. He wasn't, but he saw what they were doing. Yeah. I don't support that, by the way. I don't support Nazism. I don't support genocide, any of that. And easily they could have. We have the technology to change the air and put gas or deadly chemicals in the air and kill them all. But obviously they didn't want to do that. And in 1, 2 years, 5 years, they could have all been dead, and could have just been. You could have blamed it on them for whatever. And yeah, and I already said, like talking bad about Israel can get you fined and in jail. $1 million or 20 years in jail. What other country does it? Or what other country in the world do we do that for? Or is it just because we're anti-Semitic? Another thing I want to talk about is Venezuela. We all saw that they were attacking Venezuela, and It's literally not about, it's not about the drugs. They don't care about that. It's because Venezuela wanted to stop giving the oil. It's the same thing for Africa. This is a crazy thing in Africa. In African countries, when leaders wanted to be more successful, because everybody thinks Africa as a poor, like, good for nothing, like they just think they're bummy, like, you know. But it's everybody, like, if you really study history and pay attention, like, all of Europe and, yeah, literally all of Europe um stripped them from everything that they have, and they still do that to this day. That's crazy, right? And then when some countries and in Africa want to better themselves and better their people, guess what? They're killed, and then they're replaced by a ruler who will go against that and stay in the favor of giving Europeans, giving us, the Americans, whatever countries, the resources for cheap. You can look this up for any leaders in Africa that have been killed, and they were just trying to better their country, and then they were killed because they wanted to keep the resources, the rich resources they have in their country. And I don't want to get too much about religion, but I do believe there's a God. I'm leaning towards that Jesus was a real person. I think he was a real person, but it's just like, it's hard to say. He came back from the dead, and he healed all these people, and then all these stories about parting the ocean. You know, I grew up believing in dinosaurs and evolution, right? So his stories about, or the Bible stories about every animal and how, or every animal in Noah's Ark, like, it doesn't make sense to me, right? I'm not gonna go against anybody else. Like, this is my opinion, and this is what I don't like. The second I disagree with somebody about religion, it's like, oh, like, how can you not believe that? It's the same thing with Democrats and Republicans. It's just easy to separate us. But yeah, the Bible, who do you think sells the Bible? It's been altered through all of history. All of our history books can be altered too. Like, what do you think they would do? Today, I had a class talking about the Puritans. The Puritans believe that men are superior than women. Religion should be implemented into politics. And there's a video on TikTok that talks about it. No, not on TikTok. It's literally my homework. I'm gonna go find it real quick. Hold on. Alright, so I couldn't find it, but from what I can remember, it's just they're very strict and being religious, implementing it into religion, right? And obviously they have some good morals too. Like, we talked about how they needed everybody to be in school, right, for everyone not be stupid. But yeah, they kind of sound like the people from today, like, just very, just like kind of white beliefs, you know. Like, I appreciate my white homies too. It's just like, I don't know. Like, sometimes I be thinking in class, and I look around, and it's everybody brown, Asian, some white, but in the white people you can see the culture of us. Like, it's not even us, because I know I have blood from Spain, from Europe, because I'm Mexican and Guatemalan. And yeah, but literally everybody's an immigrant, and I don't know how you can support deportation and just look at your own skin, look at your own eyes, look at your hair, and I promise you that's from Latin America. That's from immigration, you know. I don't care what anybody thinks about me. I don't care if I sound crazy. If you disagree with me, like, oh, whatever, like, I don't even know what to say for that, right? I don't know. I'm gonna say it again. I'm not suicidal. I have no problems like that. Yeah, I'm only saying that just in case, because you hear all these stories about people getting killed for speaking up. If you look it up, you can hear on TikTok, you can hear all those stories about people getting intimidated by whatever higher up power there is in people, not like God, right? Trying to intimidate them and get them to stop. Because we've always obviously seen that with Nicholas Tesla and JFK or whoever. I'm honestly going off track right now. I need to gather my thoughts real quick. Hold on. All right. So some more stuff I think about. I think this is all crazy, right? Like obviously, the more you know, the more like you think about and it fucks you up, right? But it's easier to be not less knowledgeable and just go about your day because you're happy, right? But and it doesn't affect you, but it really does in the future. You don't gotta worry about the future, right? You gotta worry about your life and how you're doing today. But honestly, there's some people that just do that, and some people that's worried about their future. And people like me, I just want to speak up and be a voice. You know, I don't know if I'll keep doing this. I don't know if I'll keep talking about shit that's going on, right? Or shit that I believe in, right? But well, a lot of people know, right? Anyways, there's a conspiracy theory about 9/11, right? And I really think it was set up so we can hate the Middle East. And when we went to war with Middle East, we weren't really going to war with them. It was really us. It was really set up so we can hate them and be against them. When it was really Israel. That's what I think, right? That's just an opinion. There's some more backstory to where I can back that up, but I can't think about it right now, and that's honestly like a vague topic, right? Because bless the lives that were lost in 9/11. Or I'm just gonna keep talking. Um, Back in the early 1900s, black people were intentionally injected with made up like serums, and they were just like test dummies, right? For how they would react to whatever they're putting in their body, and they would die, and they would keep testing them, and the ones that survive, and they pass that on to future generations in America. So I don't, you know, it's easy to hate or be against a black person because you see it on the internet and you're like, oh, they're all the same, right? When it's really set up to hate them and really set up to separate us, right? Um, and countries like Russia and the Soviet Union, Russia and North Korea, right? Communist. I think North Korea's a communist. No, I don't think so. But I'm gonna see in my head right now. But back then, when America was trying to settle on Asian countries, and both North Korea and Russia were opposing them, um, obviously we think of them and we've grown up to think that they were very evil, right? And it's really not. Like if you really look it up, you can see how successful North Korea was until South Korea we revolted against um they had not a revolution, but they just overthrew something. And yeah, it's really just opinions of, oh, you have a different view from me, like we're not the same. It's the same thing. I was saying earlier, Democrats, Republicans, believing in Christianism, being a Christian, being a Catholic. It's just to separate us. I think, like going backtracking, I think there's a God. Um, I don't. I think that was set up to keep us in place. And yeah, um, and literally just the thing I saw right now was that the Israeli government paid MAGA influencers, like I don't want to say his name, you know, it's like deadass, bless his heart, like nobody deserves to die. Nobody deserves to die. It's our neighbor. Like, we gotta protect each other, but it's literally all a part of a system to keep us spinning, to keep the rich rich, you know. But I did feel bad. But obviously he has some bad morals, but bless his heart. But going back to Israel, they pay the MAGA influencers to talk about or persuade to the Israeli side, because obviously, like, a person like me, if you really like get into it, you can see the stuff Israel is doing to Gaza, and like it's like, what are you doing? But obviously it's part of their plan to like hate them. But something that I've been thinking about is, if they really believed in Judaism, then they wouldn't have done this. They wouldn't have done stuff to condemn or be like, oh my bad, I didn't mean to bomb the 5 countries in the Middle East, like Qatar, right? But that's something I've been stuck on. Oh, and something else. If for the people that know the R family, the RO, they literally own everything. Dating back to 1700s, they would literally fund wars. They funded Napoleon. They give money to all these leaders, and just keep going on generation to generation. They're one of the families that control everything, you know. And if you look up on TikTok about the story about that girl, who experienced talking to ChatGPT, which is obviously owned by the higher ups, so they can see everything you're saying to that, saying to that, no matter what. It's probably Snapchat AI too, and Goth, whatever. But ChatGPT is one of the biggest that they own. And she was talking about the R family, and she started getting weird things like I was mentioning earlier. Started getting cars, not cars. Actually, it was a man that walked up to her and literally said what she said to ChatGPT. Whatever, bro. I want to keep talking. Like, I just want to be heard. I don't want people around me to think that everything's okay. Like, it's not that. I'm just flustered up because of all that shit that I'm trying to get out of my head and get out to the world, you know. But it's just crazy, bro. Bless everybody that has died. Some shit really has to change. I don't think in the next 10 years, the people seeing this might still be in America. Or we're probably in a world war right now. We're in a war right now. They just haven't labeled it as a war yet. Like, it's already the start of it, bro. I mean, they already said, they say this all the time, but I think that we're part of a war already. But I might keep talking about it, I might not. Pray for my safety if you're Christian, Catholic, just spiritual, like you believe in it. That's, please hear me out and consider what I do, or consider what I've said, and please rethink about it, and hopefully you can have a voice too, but thank you for everybody that watched this. I don't think anybody's gonna get to the ending, but yeah, this is what I believe in. But thank you.